Alright. What is going on today, Chatterino? What up, what up? Another day, another Wednesday stream, boys. Hopefully all is well. Cody, welcome in. The early bird gets the worm. What is going on today, chat? Got some fun stuff to talk about today while we continue our Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke run. So, last time we were got some new encounters. We got a Drowsy. We got a... What else we get? Forgot. Bellsprout. We got a Bellsprout. Got a Drowsy. So, if you guys are new here, welcome. This session, we're playing some Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke. Just hanging out, chilling. Some background of me. If you guys are new here, I do vending on the side. I've been doing it for about 4 years now, officially. So, just chilling. Talking about, I got an upcoming show this Saturday. Talking about the online store. Talking about a bunch of stuff. And we're just chilling with chat. Johnny, what's going on? We have to catch our Diglett. Just go through Lieutenant Surge's team. So hopefully you guys are doing good. It's Wednesday, hump day. Shout out to the hump day. Sheep Deprived. That's a very interesting name. Nice, man. Well, welcome. Welcome to the chill stream. Put me on in the background. Put me on the third monitor. Lurk if you want. Just big vibes. Got some, actually, I could probably show off some cards that I picked up not too long ago. So first, some of the ones that I picked up. If you guys have seen these jumbo cards, this was a pretty cool pickup as of late. This is my personal favorite Darkrai artwork of all time. But the jumbos, typically I don't like the jumbos, but this is the first time I've actually seen the legend jumbos. And they look absolutely sick in jumbo form. These are probably the only jumbos that I actually like, to be honest. And then we got the Palkia Dialga legend. So that was pretty sick. So super cool artwork on the full legend there. What else did we pick up? We got these not too long ago. Got some cool tag teams. We got the Greninja Zoroark GX. Probably one of the cleanest mod plays I've ever seen. And then we also got the promo Garchomp Tina. And then aside that, we got a bunch of just random. You guys are gonna see the full spread here. So we got all of the except Sylveon, which I thought was interesting. Or wait, no. Black and White came out before XY, right? I think. Am I a fake fan? I think it did. But here's some of the ones I picked up. So those are all the ones that were notable from a recent pickup. And you guys want to see a new card condition? Look at chat. So some people say damaged. Look at this. So I had this secret rare Articuno from Supreme Victors. Supreme Victory? I can't remember. But see how I have it say cooked? I don't know what's on my finger. Had dust. So see where it says cooked? When I say that this card is absolutely fried, I am not kidding, chat. Look at this. Ready? If you have ever seen a worse card, they probably exist. But this one was absolutely cooked to a crisp. And so whoever gets this one... Because typically, damage was around, like, 50 creds. But then look at the back. Holy chat. That thing is petrified. That thing is absolutely fried to a crisp. RIP the Articuno. I got the Jumbo Gengar card at the thrift store yesterday. Oh, wow. Felix, thanks for the follow. I'm glad you support the new condition, raw condition of cooked. So shout out to you. And you get to when I catch this Diglett, I'm gonna name him after you. So yeah, it's a PSA 9.7.67. So there's two decimals. And this one I was debating on putting as. So this one is damaged. So it's the bottom half of the Ho Legend. But this one equally. This one I feel like would be on the fence of getting a PSA 1 or will not grade. Because this thing, whew, look at that, chat. That thing has seen the washing machine probably 5 times in its life. Maybe even 6. Dare I say 7. But that thing is cooked. But aside from that, some other stuff was just generically okay. It wasn't like the craziest pickups. But they're cool, like just generic good cards. So I was like, I got them for a good deal. They'll probably sit there for a while. But I guess one thing, and you guys can actually tell me if you guys are binder collectors, if you kind of like to buy cards to kind of fill as like a mild placeholder if it's cheap enough, and then kind of fill the gap if you find a better copy. Let me know in chat if that's something you do. As I get some credits for that bad boy. But yeah, that thing was fried, brother. How you doing, YB? Hopefully you're big chillin'. Not even little chillin'. I hope you're big chillin'. Then hopefully we got. Oh, here's another. So one thing that I've been doing is chat. If you guys are new here, I am a certified. I have a master's degree in yapping. So you'll probably see me play this game for approximately 5 minutes, and the rest of it yapping. But a new pickup for my own personal collection, chat. I never pick up cards, but this one was a gift, and it was sick. So I like to get the, I like to collect all the band artwork, and this was a new pickup for the collection. PSA 8, Misty's Tears. So super stoked for that one. I only have a few more left in the band artwork collection. So that's super sick. Extra large grande chillin'. I like that, YB. Well, welcome. And welcome all. One and all. Now we're going to try to catch Diglett so we can sweep Lieutenant Surge. And we're going to name him Felix. Hopefully we don't choke. Hopefully we don't encounter a Doug Trio, to be quite honest with you. Because that would not be good. Because the Doug Trio, like, although I would love one, I'm a bit afraid of it just destroying me. Because, again, we are playing Nuzlocke rules. So if my Pokemon faints in battle, including wild encounters, I have to release them. They have to go bye-bye forever. All right. So we got the Diglett. Diglett's good. Our man is about to sweep. So welcome in, guys. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Hump day. Shout out Hump day. And if your schedule doesn't really follow a generic weekday, welcome in regardless. Appreciate you guys spending your Wednesday with me, hanging out. Like it says in the... So down below here, like it says, I am a Pokemon vendor on the side. So if you have any questions about my opinion on the market or cards or anything like that, I'm more than happy to kind of BS and talk about anything. One conversation that's been coming up a lot is a lot of people have been asking me if I am looking to grade with PSA anytime soon. And my answer to that is no. So I can explain that further if anyone is interested as to why I'm not submitting with PSA at the moment. Talk about that. There was no one to review today. No one submitted for grade review, so it is just straight Pokemon chilling. Felix. So Felix. Yeah, it's the very rare instance where no one submitted for grade review. That would be next week. Because typically I like to announce and like do thumbnails for if people submit for grade review. So that's honestly why I like to do it. But it goes without saying, YB, the queue is wide open. So if you want to just send a bunch of stuff, you'll most likely be up on the top of the list. So, but I guess while I have it fresh in my brain, I think one of the main reasons why I'm choosing not to submit to PSA at the moment is not because I think that PSA is not doing a good job from like a grading perspective in the market. I think that from a PR perspective, I think there's a lot of eyeballs on PSA, and kind of neutral or in a negative light. So one of the main scrutinies is the transparency aspect of PSA. And so all PSA, and I made a video about this before, all PSA has to do to add that transparency is ride the kind of the hype train that is AI grading. Because right now, people are kind of seeing Tag or posting Tag as a large competitor against PSA. And in my opinion, in the long term, I don't think that's true, and I can get into that after, or if anyone wants more insight on why I think Tag is kind of like a flash in the pan. But for PSA, that's really like the big thing social media is really kind of talking about is Tag is looking to go after PSA. But Tag is right now more so hyping the technology of AI and less of the company as a whole on average. And because that's what most people are talking about is removing the human element of grading, and Tag is really the one that's been like the poster child as of late. Because remember, AGS is also an AI grading company, and no one talks about them anymore. So, because Tag came into the picture, so when PSA decides to introduce Tag or introduce AI grading, or even acquire Tag for its technology, Tag will more or less become irrelevant. So why I'm waiting is because I want to see what they do in the first quarter or the second quarter. So basically, I'm waiting for the first 6 months to see what PSA's reaction is, because regardless of if I wait or not, PSA's response or turnaround times are abysmal. They're like not like for just for bulk, it's 95 business days, and that's insane. So I would rather just hold on to my cards and have me have possession of them, and being able to pivot and position myself if I need to, versus having PSA hold the cards for 95 days, only for them while they're holding my cards to say, hey, we're now introducing AI grading. And then they're going to basically, people are going to say, oh, well, the certs that have been reviewed by AI are now better than the new certs. So they warrant a premium. The same thing as new certs today warranting a better price or a premium in some instances than compared to older certs, right? So that's not going to be any different because the market has already dictated that as being a potential truth. So I'm just waiting, and my cards aren't going to get damaged anytime soon. Like, they are protected. Like, I literally have, I don't know if you guys can see it. You probably can't. Palatown, what's going on, man? We're just talking about why I'm not submitting my stuff for a little bit. You can't really see it, but right here, I have a little Pelican case of cards that I have ready to go to be graded, but I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens. So they're not going to be damaged anytime soon, so the condition's going to be the same. It's just I want to wait for at least 6 months to see what PSA does in the market from a PR perspective. And that's really it, to be honest. Because again, I'm a huge stickler when it comes to I'm a big stickler when it comes to grading. So like if I think something is a gambler's 10, I won't submit it So if you guys have seen that one video, I know I talked about it last stream, but the one where a previous customer of mine came back with a card that they bought raw that I most likely assessed as a gambler's 10, meaning that I wasn't comfortable kind of sitting on it, spending more money for it to potentially get a 10. I put it on the case, they graded it, and it came back as a 10. And good for them, but for me, I just prefer, like, if I really have confidence that I think it's a strong 10 contender, that's what I'll actually submit. Because what, in my opinion, what's going to happen is for those, like when AI grading or when AI is incorporated into PSA, at some point it will happen. People are going to look back at the previous grades or the previous certs and say, well, AI would probably have graded this a 9 and not a 10 as it is today. And so I'm just trying to only submit almost like guarantees versus like gamblers 10s, if that makes sense. I've been leaning towards trying a tag send out to see how I like it. I generally, like, if you were to ask me and put like the business, if you were to turn my business brain off and turn my collector brain on, and if I just started collecting slabs from scratch, because I don't like, for my personal collection for graded stuff, I just stick with PSA because I don't want to have like a combination of like PSA, Beckett, CGC in my personal collection. I just want to stick with one grading company. But if I were to do it over again in 2026, for personal collection reasons, I would stick with tag because the tag slabs look so much better than PSA. That's the thing that I will say, that they look very, very good compared to PSA. But yeah, it'll definitely be like a only time will tell kind of situation. So, all right, so we need to teach someone that can learn cut. Yeah, but I think the other thing too, I think the other interesting fact that I think a lot of people aren't really talking about, which I'm actually kind of surprised, is if you want any of the other grading companies besides PSA to really establish themselves as a big player in the market, you have to stop using all aspects of PSA, including market price data and market value data. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, so say for example, if there's a really obscure card that's like a CGC 8, and maybe there's only like 2 sales for the entire year, but let's say for argument's sake that CGC 8 equates to a PSA 8. Most likely that card is going to have much more data sets and data points for sales of a PSA 8 compared to the CGC 8 counterpart. So you need more people to trust in the data to have CGC stand on its own 2 feet without relying on other grading companies to kind of support it, if that makes sense. So that's why I think Beckett does such a good job as like a secondary competitor. But I mean, Collector, the parent company of PSA, acquired Beckett, so that's what I'm about to say is kind of irrelevant. But it kind of drives home the point. Beckett black labels are unique in the sense that there's no comparison to PSA. So by design, it has to establish its own market price and its own market data set and data numbers to go off of, because you can't convince anyone like, hey, this card as a black label, it only has 2 sales in the last 2 years. What more data can we extrapolate from that card? There's nothing comparable to PSA, right? So you have to establish the market within those 2 sales because there's nothing else to compare it to. So that's why I think for tag, if people really want tag to really have a strong force against PSA, tag has to have enough sales to where it can support its own ecosystem, which includes the sales data. Because as soon as you start to go to PSA to get like comparable comps, that's where you start to kind of lose that market strength, because you're comparing it to another grading company that isn't tag, the thing that you're trying to support, if that makes sense. But I agree with you. I think tag is really cool. And I think the technology is there, and I think it's really cool how they do it. But I think it's only a matter of time until PSA introduces AI, and then it kind of deflates tag's main flagship is that. With PSA doing AI grading kill tag, make more people go to them. I'm building a PC stack and sale stack for tag and PSA. Honestly, YB, that's actually a pretty smart idea, to be honest. Because if you don't really care about like liquidity, then just choose whatever slab you like better. Um, but I think PSA, if they introduce AI grade, if they introduce AI to their grading, I think it will be a very big blow to tag, because the only thing on social media and what PR and the news around tag, the number one thing that people are seeking tag out for it being a direct competitor against PSA is its transparency through AI only grading. Now, I think AI only grading is inherently a problem because AI only anything is inherently a problem. So, as an example, the best example I can give that's a real one is AI that can review things like X-rays or CT scans or something like that to detect anomalies of the human body, right? So, say for example, there's like a mass or a tumor, and it's trying to go through all the information, all the logs, and AI says, "Yep, that thing that I'm seeing, from the best of my knowledge, is a tumor." However, if you go under the table and, you know, like, hey, remove this thing from me, if AI says, hey, this thing, I have a confidence rating that this thing is a tumor, like, wouldn't you, as the patient that's about to go under to get that removed, wouldn't you also want a doctor, a human doctor, to also validate that that information is correct? Right? You just, like, don't blindly trust AI. You also want someone that's been in the professional field to validate the information that AI is suggesting. And so I think that is the golden answer for anything AI related, not just grading, but AI as a whole, is that trust AI is doing it more efficiently and doing like the task oriented, like tasks, I guess, to its best of its ability, but verify that information is correct by being a professional in the field that AI is trying to assist you with. And I think it's no different in grading than anything else. So that's kind of my example when AI and grading are introduced. So anything that's AI only and then insert whatever, I think that's inherently flawed. I think if you do AI plus humans, so AI does the trusting, but then like humans do the verifying, I think that is the golden formula for AI in general. I told you guys, I'm a certified yapper. I could yap about literally anything. So, good questions, by the way. So if you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Galaxy Gaming, and every Wednesday I normally stream grade review, but there wasn't any today. So now we're playing Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke, and we're about to go against Lieutenant Surge. If you're enjoying yourself, make sure to like the live or follow the live or share the live, because you are the best. For hanging out with me on a Wednesday, a certified yapper of my skill set, PhD. Ooh, here's another thing that, ready chat? Here's a thing that literally just came across my desk not an hour, 2 hours ago. Look at this. Boom, chat. A Primal Groudon EX. Probably one of the cleanest heavy plays I've ever seen. But it is heavy play nonetheless. But it's an excellent binder copy. It's only on the back. The front is nice, with the exception of a little bit of issues on the top there. You can kind of see above where the D and O are. It's in the sleeve, but man, it has been a hot minute since I've held one of these. So that was pretty cool. So, but it was an extremely clean heavy play because it's all in the back. And again, I'm a stickler for condition, so. But yes, it was very cool. And Pallet, shout out to you for doing a security sweep at the new destination. Hopefully it's nice. I'm really hoping, man. I launched an ad yesterday to try to help promote it, and I hope to God that it's good. But we shall see. All right. We need to put away. We need to put away potential, because you will get absolutely cooked. Man. What sucks is that I don't know what any of these Pokemon are without their sprites. So we are about to find out. I know Felix is a Diglett. I know that. But yeah, it should be a fun show. It'll be a fun show. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping that I have time, because I don't know if it's just going to be me or not. I might have someone else help me at the show, but typically when it's just me, I don't really have time to go around and like say hi to anyone else, because I'm like trying to stand watch in my own booth. So I'm hoping I can. But I would really like to. There's been some inventory that I've been sitting on for a while. It's good, but it's just like the people that I go to is like, or the place that I go to just isn't interested in it. But it's like, I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm a big one of everything, chat. I collect one of everything. I got some new camera stuff in, so I'm super excited to try it. Dude, that'd be sick. I'll have to, yeah, I'll have to try to, if it's like calm and I have like, yes, I would say my guess is that it's probably going to be an absolute free for all, and if we can kind of control, like where we can be, I think we can probably swing it, but we definitely should. We definitely should. But I'll be there right at that 8:30 point. So I'll be right there pulling up to the function. But yes, I think that's a fantastic idea. Okay. There we go. Jeez. Yeah, the other thing that I don't know if I'm gonna have time to, but I've had merch for a while that I'm gonna try to advertise a little bit more at this show with some other cool perks that I'll try to wait until I get closer to make the actual advertisement for. But it'll be pretty cool. Oh God. Pizza Rat, get out there, boy. So right now, chat, I'm just I'm evolving or training my Plattsburgh. Yes, Damien, I am. Man, we got the Plattsburgh homies out tonight. Yes, I will be there. Yes, for sure. Yeah, I would say in my opinion, and this is kind of like a keep or toss, but in my opinion, the biggest thing that I notice not a lot of people having, which I honestly kind of find interesting, is that not a lot of people bring their own tablecloths, like branded tablecloths. Because it's something that is easy for you to like separate yourself from others. And you can basically rely on yourself for having good quality tablecloths, or ones that you at least know are clean, as opposed to trusting that the venue that you're going to has tablecloths that are not like stained and kind of grody and ripped and whatever. So the people that I go to, palette, is Lorman's. Shout out Lorman's Embroidery. They hooked me up. They hooked me up with the merch. They hooked me up with my banners. It's definitely a good idea for sure. Yeah, they are more than accommodating. They do a fantastic job. Yeah, they probably have made a good chunk of my stuff. There's probably like the only thing that they weren't involved with was I have like a smaller like extendable banner that's kind of like rectangular, but everything else they've done. Yes, Damien. Yep. The Chudster has entered the chat. Chudster has entered the gymnasium. What up, Chud? Is that the Galaxia? Yes. Dude, I'm super pumped. I'm pumped that I'm honestly pumped more to see the vendors at the show than people. Cause it's cool because like we're just like yapping about it on these streams. And it's like it's getting me hyped just to see you guys. It's pretty dope. Super sick. The only thing that I gotta remember is I gotta bring apparently we have to bring a donation, which I'm totally okay with. I just totally forgot until I was like looking through my my messages. Kind of molding right now. Broke a $60 kit and I can't fix it. Hopefully you didn't break it through rage because your Miku skin didn't load. But I feel it. Sometimes when the Fortnite skins don't load, you just throw an upper decker into the wall. So I get it. That sucks though. All jokes aside, that sucks. Caught up in the moment for a show. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice just to kind of BS and because we all are like have like-minded goals, right? And I genuinely believe that especially for our area, just a piece broke off and we'll go back together. Chud, let me ask you this. Here, bring it in. Let me ask you this, Chud. Since the piece broke off, did you try gluing it together? Big brain. I know. It's hey. I didn't get a 90 on my SATs for nothing. I don't even know if that's good or bad anymore. Shout out to you who signed. Do you guys remember it was either the SATs or the ACTs where you had to like not only sign the full agreement, like you had to write it out, but you had to write it out in cursive. Did you guys ever have to do that? I did. And writing that full paragraph in full cursive was harder than the actual test. So, I don't know if you guys had to do that. I remember having to do that, and it sucked. Shout out to the SATs. Oh, you did try it? Okay. Judd, I don't know what to tell you then. I don't know. But it does suck, though. You want to see something? Look at Certified Yapper again. I'm still procrastinating on repairing these OG red and yellow. Literally all I have to do is just take solder. I have the solder, I have everything, but I just haven't gotten around to replacing the battery. These have been in penny sleeves for probably 2 years. Shout out Pokemon Yellow, shout out Pokemon Red. But they've literally been in this state for probably 2 years. And whoever wrote Sharpie on the back of Pokemon Red. But yes. And look, we got baseball, chat. Chat, I have literally the most random stuff. Like you guys can't see it, but like my whole like setup on this side, I have so much random stuff that I just like pull out of nowhere. Like this one's probably a big one. Ooh, you guys want to see something sick? Watch this. I know it's crazy, Chud. But look at this, chat. Ready? You guys are about to rock your socks off. Look at this. Pokemon Mewtwo Mew VHS. I have the deep cut, Chud. Look at that. And it's not moldy. Because sometimes shout out the VHS tapes. This thing ain't moldy and it's the original. It's not overwritten by anything else. So shout out the VHS tapes. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, chat. That movie has probably one of the hardest quotes ever, and it was by Mewtwo. The state of what is it? The state of one's circumstances is irrelevant. Is what you do with your life that matters, or something like that. Did I just rip that off the top of the dome, chat? I don't know if I did, but yes, super stoked for Saturday. But I would say Oh God. Because it's really interesting when people ask me like what I'm looking for. There's really not a lot that come to mind of things that I'm like actively seeking. The only things that I'm seeking, I think, at this time, um, more from like a business perspective and less of a personal collection perspective, is like almost like completing like mini sets within stuff that I have for available, I guess. So like the Umbreon EX to complement the Espeon EX, and the Charizard and Venusaur EX from Fire Red, Relief Green. But yeah, honestly, dude, like I don't know what that Umbreon is at. I genuinely haven't looked in a very long time. But just having it next to each other, because I'm a big like, as long as it's like mid era or lower, like X, Y, and back, as long as it's in an 8 or higher, and if it's above like roughly 250, that's kind of like where my line is from a grading perspective. So if it hits that, man, I'd definitely be down. I definitely would be down. Because I think that card looks sick. But then the other thing I gotta remember is sometimes I have like too much footage. Like I still have to finish 3 other shows of footage because I'm almost done making shorts from a show that I made back in October for Plattsburgh. I only have one more short form content video to make for that one, and then I'm on to Saratoga, I think. And then just kind of going from there. But it's one of those things where I just have to get it done because my hard drives are getting full. I have too much raw footage. Too much, chat. Too much. But Chud, what model are you working on? I don't even know if I asked you that. I was more memeing you than anything, which I'm a naughty boy for doing. Oh. I will say with all the did a video from October show and finally got out this week. I'll have to take a look at that. I'll definitely have to take a look. Because I think it's really, I personally like to see how everyone does videos. Because it's kind of cool. Everyone has like their own little way of doing it. And I think that's really, really interesting. Let's see. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. That'll make it. 11, 10, 9. Already made it. That's probably like the most anxiety-inducing scenario. Is when your Pokemon is close to being expired. I don't even know if I have potions. I probably should check. I do not. Probably should pick some up. Oh, trust me, man. Dude, I have been there, done that for sure. You definitely, I think you kind of need that to happen because it's one of those things where like you will not have it happen again. That's kind of how I see it. It's like you need to have that happen. Like mine was not having enough storage and not having a constant flow of power. Because the camera that I have, like the battery, I'd have to swap it out like every hour, and like when in the middle of a show, in addition to that, swapping out the battery was just so annoying. Um, and then the same thing with um, the storage. That's what I was trying to say. Chud, you what are you doing? I gotta get you in the game here. There we go. Yeah, it's all just like those little lessons learned and just kind of comparing it and seeing what does well, continuously kind of critiquing your own work. And I think really the biggest thing for me was like figuring out what, like making content that other people will watch versus just like what you want people to watch, if that makes sense. Like I'm not please don't see this as like me trying to give advice. I guess I'm just talking really more to myself. But that was like a big hurdle for me. Was like making videos and like putting a lot of like graphical editing to them, but it like the video itself not really being like entertaining. And so for me, it was a fun challenge to do like new editing and stuff that I've never done before. But it was really kind of mediocre content. And so trying to like accept that reality, be like, okay, well, you know, I like this, but it doesn't do too well. That's why for me, I've been more appreciating like more of the interactions that don't involve sales and like, and then I guess, I don't know, like not putting so much emphasis on just like the big money deals. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that per se, but I think there's just a lot of it that I think unless you have a really creative eye, that makes it different, or if there's like a really unique interaction that you have with a particular customer, it doesn't stand out. Because I think for me, like when I see, okay, here's another like, okay, person A comes up, they make deal, the deal is done. Like if that is really kind of the meat of what the content is, it's kind of like a lot of people are doing it. It's really just how you interact. And I think if you kind of go into it with more of like a creative mindset to make that simple interaction more engaging, then I think that does really well. I think that's why like coin flips have become so popular, is because it's a way to do that very easily and very quickly, because it adds this like layer of you're not necessarily doing anything flashy or like content specific, but it's more of like the thrill of the gamble that is inherently makes the content more unique in a otherwise non-unique situation, if that makes sense. But I also like long form is nice, even though for me, like I know for me, um like for how my algorithm works, long form is tough to push out to a new audience, but I enjoy making more of like the raw or like putting more creativity in the long form content, for those who like to be in the area and really like to kind of see more of like an unedited, more um, raw experience, which is kind of nice too. So it's just a nice way to try to kind of explore the balance and find the balance for yourself, that I think is rewarding, and figure out what you can and like what's good and like what you feel like you can do better, but then like not being so overly perfectionistic, if that's even a word. I don't even know if it is. Like striving for perfection is ultimately gonna just kind of, because there have been videos that I've made genuinely that I thought were gonna do buns and ended up doing way better than I thought. But just I don't know, just sometimes it just works. And it's all at the end of the day, like when you make content, it's really just you're pulling the lever of like, will this do well? And the more you can pull that lever, eventually you just keep learning about it, and eventually it'll just start to work out. You'll start to kind of know more what does better, what doesn't do so better, like what doesn't do so well, stuff like that. Where's my cut at? I feel like Oh, I'm silly. I gotta go to the SSN. I got that thing so long ago. It was like, I'm a fake fan, chat. Fake fan doesn't even know that he has to go in the SSN to get cut. This whole time I was like, oh, I got cut already. Easy. Alright, so we need... Let's see. I feel like we need a little Mankey action. But now, which one is Mankey, chat? That's the question. Because all the names are scuffed. And I don't know which one's which. So we have ground, bug. I think we can kind of do away with... But I also think a water type's actually pretty good. What on earth is Bardian? I can't remember. The bird. There are bugs and plants, but I think Pizza Rat out and Poliwhirl in. Get some good coverage. Beautiful. Probably get... No, we can probably pick on some kids in the SSN. Oh. Oh, nice. It just sped right through. But I guess I could talk about some of the... So I guess, like, going into this year from a collecting perspective, I think, and again, this is more from, I guess, my own personal experiences and some of the shows that I've been to and kind of getting a better sense on what does better for me personally, online versus in person, is I think I want to be more, like, follow my own, like, what I think is cool, from a graded perspective, for, like, versus, like, if it's like a modern 10, like, kind of being more inclined to pick it up. And I think that will make it a little bit more enjoyable for me personally, when looking at graded stuff. Because I've been finding that a lot of folks are just kind of grading for the sake of grading. I mean, especially with GameStop, which again, it's not the end of the world, and I think it's actually a good thing that GameStop has made grading so much more accessible to kind of like the common population. But at the same time, it has also introduced a much larger pool of like lower end slabs that have kind of made its run through the market, and it's really hard for me to grasp the idea that certain people want like graded stuff that's like 70-80 bucks, if that makes sense. Like, and I know I'm not saying that from like you know, oh, they can't afford it perspective. It's more of like there's gotta be something to where it's like, okay, like, are there actually collectors for, like, I don't know, like, let's say this like random Mega Absol EX, right? Like, how much of a market is there for this? Like, if I had this as a PSA 10, how much of a market is there really for something like that? And like, I get it from like an easy cost perspective, but it just, to me, it just doesn't, the math isn't mathing for me personally. But again, it's kind of like a risk that I'm kind of willing to take in my own brand, and we'll kind of see how it pays off. And if it does, it might not even, because there's been the same like Lugia V SIR from Silver Tempest as a PSA 10 that I've had for almost 2 years, and I thought that thing would have done way better. But the other thing that I think with Modern is typically it seems like people enjoy more of like getting the rest of the meat off the bone, meaning that they don't want to buy the PSA 10, like if it's a Modern, because they want an ungraded copy to then grade it themselves to kind of make that potential profit, which totally makes sense. So I think that's probably why they don't do as well for me, for the people that I serve, because of that because there's no more meat left on the bone, so to speak, other than just simple negotiation and trading and whatever. But typically, that's not like a big allure for folks. So I don't know. And Pidgey almost just wiped out Felix. A Nidorina. Oh, duh, you're ground. Chat, I'm a fake fan. I forgot that cut was on SSN, and I just tried using an electric type move on a ground type. I'm a fake fan. Absolute fake fan. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're all just here to have fun, collecting Pokemon, having something that brings us joy, brings us together as a community and as a hobby. I know it's kind of, sometimes it's like that statement's kind of, you know, kind of run its course and kind of overplayed, but genuinely when you get a good group of people, both if you meet them in person or online, I think it really is very meaningful, for sure. It's a very meaningful experience. Get challenged by more than the bored ones. I'm trying to remember. I thought the one of these had a... Let me sleep. Gotta spray him down. Gotta spray him down, chat. Felix getting the spritz. I'm too lazy to find out where on Earth that bed is. Alright. Played you already. Yes. Yeah, I'll be yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. Because I think, you know, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I think from just a generic blanket social media perspective, like the content that I think is kind of shown to me the most is a lot of the, like, look at my come up compared to yours, or here's my flex compared to yours. And like, yeah, like it is cool to see like cards that I personally have never seen before, nor probably will I ever see in person. But that is as like FOMO and kind of look at me as you can get to like a good, like a big, pretty big extreme. But I think it's also nice with like certain other forms of content, like kind of challenging that idea and showing that there is a desire for like showing off like the community, like the good community side, like i.e. like Coop and the bearded dad, I think his name is. I think there's a lot of that I think is gaining more traction because there's just so much of the other stuff that kind of gives that like inherent kind of bad taste in the mouth of like, yeah, it's cool, but like you're kind of like flaunting this money that you know, like you're not really disclosing like how the process is, because some of these people really don't disclose like how much they're in debt. And I'm not saying they all do that, but there is that reality that there are some people. I don't know if you guys watch the reason why I bring it up, I don't know if you guys ever watch Financial Audit on YouTube by Caleb Hammer, but there's a few people who were on there. Basically it does like financial audits and kind of memes on them and whatever. But there's a few people who were like said that they're Pokemon investors and Pokemon collectors. And yeah, like they were all in debt. People relate to vendors that have a lot of moderately priced cards because that's all. Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, people go to card shows knowing that you get to. I think there really is something to, you know, feeling and looking at a card and kind of developing your own like physical assessment of a card in the condition that it's in, because you can touch it, look at, feel it. You can kind of bond with the collector. You know, I think I made this joke before, but it is as genuine as I can be. Where I remember more about people and what they're looking for, like a card that they're looking for or a favorite Pokemon that they're looking for, more so than their actual name. Now, that might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing. But, you know, when I say, like, when someone comes to my booth and says, hey, I'm looking for this card, and I don't have it, I genuinely, like, am, like, mildly upset in a good way, to where I want to, next time they come through, I want to be able to find that card for them. So then the next time they do come through my booth, it's like, oh my god, I finally have that card you're looking for. Hopefully you didn't buy it somewhere else. Watch some of the vendor videos and they only deal in ponchos and high grade stars rough because, yeah, exactly. And it has that sense of detachment, because like the video and the content is more meant for vendors as opposed to the mass collector. And like there is obviously, you know, a market for that high end like kind of content. But another person that actually does it really well that I personally get a lot of my own inspiration from a content perspective is Clover Cards and Jarchomp. Because they have like the higher end stuff, but they also showcase like the lower end / like cool community interaction stuff in their own special way. Like I genuinely like both of their styles, and I think they do a really good job on that too. What a wild comment by Roberto. Let's read this. Mario Kart World for the Nintendo Switch 2. You will lose to my fastest Luigi in Pokemon Legends ZA. You will lose to my Charizard. I probably would, because I don't have Pokemon ZA. So by default, you win and I lose. I'm a fake fan. So by default, you got me, brother. Yeah, he does kind of come off with that like weird, like miserable vibe. I definitely know what you're talking about too. Like I know you're not saying it from like a negative perspective, but I know what you're talking about. Kind of just like nonchalant, like very the definition of nonchalant. um, but yeah, and the other thing I noticed too is um, like he will like pretty much pick up anything, like not like anything from like, you know, being in the dishwasher and whatever, but he won't say like no to like, oh, I'll give you like 40 or something like that. Like if a kid comes up or whatever, it's not always just if it's not a poncho, get out of my face kind of vibe. Like, because he could. He's like, his business and brand is very well established that he can deal with high end. You know, he deals with extremely high end sealed, um, and like higher end, like graded and whatever. Um, but yeah, it's all over the place, which is good. Snorlax. But yeah, Jarchop is good. I think I think it is like I think it'll be interesting for him to continue to like navigate the waters of his success, I think. And I think he's doing it. I think he's doing it from what I can tell in a really good way, to where he is selecting certain business opportunities in a way that doesn't seem like too like sell out ish, if that makes sense. Which is good, because that I feel like that is a path that I think a lot of vendors like kind of fall under unless they support the product that they are like kind of advocating for. I think it's a very easy slippery slope to say like, hey, I'm going to promote this brand because they reached out to me. And even though I don't use their products personally, it's like, oh, someone's showing me validation to some degree to where they want me to promote their product. Yeah, the only thing that I like don't really agree with from like Jarchomp's position is more of like what's the point I really want to make? Because it's nothing like what I'm about to say isn't like anything bad by any means. Like, but if I had to pick something, um, I think it is kind of like the I think he has more of like the inflated prices because of his position. Um, which is kind of like an example I can give, and a reason why I don't watch him anymore is because of this, is the Bulbasaur. I think the Bulbasaur, obviously the pioneer of like really bringing the Pokemon vendor content to the light. Like there's other people doing it, but he was super, super big. But I think kind of like that level of like I warrant a premium because you're at kind of like my booth and I'm kind of well known. Like I feel like there's kind of like some of the prices kind of reflect that a little bit, and I think some of his justification, like although in some areas are valid, I think other areas it's kind of more of like is that more because you're positioning in the market and less of like what the market is as a whole, and you're kind of justifying that? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's to each their own, and people can say yes or no to deals all the time. Doesn't matter, but yeah, because he uses like I forgot what platform he uses, but that's what it is. Yep, I just read the last part of your sentence there. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you stand on like that side of doing business on like those types of platforms, and if you genuinely don't like it, like, I also like I kind of get to why you would elect to do that as well. I mean, like I would kind of be like a hypocrite in the sense that, I have tried doing the online shows in an attempt to like cater to those who support me that are not in our area, right? That's a way that I can best support that. And I feel like that's probably where his initial intention was, but I also think that there is a slight combination of that, probably at like 30% or 40%, and the larger percentage is probably more of opportunity cost and kind of taking the bag, more so than anything. But I think overall, I definitely agree with you. I think it would probably have started with trying to cater to those who can't see him in person. The other thing I find, I feel like I have the sense to know if I was starting to get big with that line of work. Yeah, no, that is true. That is true, because like that is like you kind of start to enter in the like public relations realm where otherwise you may have not considered that before just due to your size. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. The other thing I find really interesting too, um, and those who are in chat can probably weigh in. I find it really interesting that there is kind of like a newer meta being developed where people are live streaming their interactions more and taking donations to fund cards for folks in person. So I guess like my initial gut reaction for the pros um, is I think it's like I think it's a good gesture for folks who like maybe are not in a financial position to like purchase cards that they couldn't afford, and some people that who are in that financial position can kind of support that, which I think is really cool. Um, but I really wonder how that works from like a nerd like tax and finance perspective. Like I really wonder how that works. That's more of like that's not even really a critique. That's more of like a general curiosity to me. Is it's like yeah, like did like from a donation perspective, you technically sold inventory, but you used it through a donation. So how does that really work? But I think it's a really cool idea, for sure. And like the live stuff, I think if you do it well, I think it makes sense. But I also think that you're kind of like for those who are coming to you in person and making their like paying the entry fee, driving there and going to you, if not done correctly, you're kind of cheapening the experience for those who have took the time to come to your table, um, by like constantly having your just like your attention split in half. Um, but aside from that, like it's pretty cool. But that's really the only like if I had a critique, that's really the only one that I have. But it's also securing generational wealth. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I know that they, for those who want to become parents and like this is like definitely your shot, to like pursue that. Like there's nothing wrong with get in the bag and run. You know. Be right back. Gotta find something to send people for streaks, but want to say, yeah, well, high and buy waste. um, but what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Strength. Yeah, I think for me, like I know, if you were to ask me like what my kind of 5-year goal of doing everything that I'm doing would probably be, would probably be to try to fund a house. Would probably be like the real answer. Like if I had to pick a goal, like doing all this, like what would I want the main end result to be? Would probably purchase my first home, um, or be in a position where like it's not as fearful, like kind of what you're talking about. With, like I'm not like at the scale of like generational wealth by any means, but it is kind of nice to like have something that I'm passionate about that I know a little bit about, that can put me in interesting positions financially. Um, and it's a fun thing to do that honestly, I think it's really more like on the healthier side for me because it gives me a goal to strive for or gives me something to do versus just kind of falling down a very easy trap of like go to work, come home, play games, like sit and then like rinse and repeat and not really having something that I feel is like fulfilling to me as a person, right? Like some people play like the guitar or like have hobbies or go, fishing or whatever. Like I feel like Pokemon has always been that for me. That's always been my outlet. That's always been my escapism and that's always been like who I am. And like I feel like I've always wanted to do vending even as a kid. Like I even remember as an elementary school kid where I'd have like my bulk, I'd have all my cards out in like the front yard, have a yard sale, like have cards for like 50 cents. Um, and I just always remember doing that. I always remember just kind of like stuff that I had doubles of. My parents like drove that in my brain so hard to where I never traded or I never did anything with a card that I didn't have duplicates of. Like if I have like more than one, then the other one is meant to do whatever you want with it, trade it, whatever. Um, and I kind of always saw that from all aspects of Pokemon, and it kind of taught me like what's worth keeping, what's not worth keeping, stuff like that. So Pokemon has really just been a huge, huge part of my life forever, ever since I bought Pokemon Yellow. And for context, chat, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll have to like show this off again. I show it off probably like once a year, but down there is my original, like in this little like showcase here, is my original Game Boy Color that I got for Christmas back in the day. So I can probably show it off. If you guys want me to, I can, but I'm gonna turn my camera off so you don't see my dump truck walking around. I got a wagon back there, boys. I got an absolute wagon. to sleep, little crabby. Go to sleep, go to sleep. I don't know where that meme came from, but that's like that's been a recent tick of mine. Is that go to sleep guy? Go to sleep, go to sleep. Shout out the TikTok stims. Because if you're not TikTok brain rot, what are you doing? I love double slap because it literally does more than just do 2 slaps. Like there literally be instances that just happened that he slaps more than twice. Like I don't know what to tell you. Oh, Pallet. I don't know if I told you or not. I think you're still here because you like the live. But I reached out to 1UP, and one of the things that I'm glad that I mentioned to them was competing shows and their upcoming events for the year. So that way they're not kind of splitting the potential base. Because I mentioned that some people will go down there for those shows. So they're now having that in the back of their mind, which is good. Headbutt. Thunder growl. Nah. Yeah. All right. So you are, I believe you're max level. Oh no, you're not. Keep going. Oh, you are max level. Alright, so we need to... Yeah, I think, so I think from a, this is what I was kind of telling, I forgot what I was talking to this about. I think from a content creation perspective, that would be a really good location to do content creation in. Or just, like, record your booth. Because nothing was going to look cooler than, like, a row of arcade games behind you while you're wheeling and dealing. That would be pretty dope. For me personally, I think that'd be pretty sick. The only thing, now that I think about it, the only thing that'd be kind of worrying is if it's too loud. That'd probably be the only thing. Like with all like the games going on in the background, I think from an audio perspective that'd be abysmal. Alright, so Pika is... Oh, we need, I think you're a Magnemite. That's what I caught. Or we're withdrawing you for sure. Oh, we're getting into it. The music's getting heavy now, chat. Oh, what a sprite. What a sprite. Oh. All right, chat. I'm doing wiggles. I will be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. There's a bathroom break. If you need a bathroom, drink water, do so now. If you like the live, like the live. If you're following, good job. If you're not, do it already. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Bathroom break. Palette, I don't know if you're here, but let me know. I just had, yeah, I don't know if you'll believe me, but I had a crazy epiphany in the bathroom. And I washed my hands. I realized the weird stuff that I like. So, one of the things that I genuinely like are old, goofy promos from back in the day, from like not like card promos, but like advertisements. Like old. I had a sneeze. It's like right there. Pause. Okay, it's gone. But like old promotional material from like Toys R Us, KB Toys, like unique Game Informer stuff. Like that stuff is cool to me. From a personal collection perspective, I love that stuff. Like I don't know if I showed you. Hold on, we're taking a quick yap pause again because I can. The Pokemon. Oh, here we go. The Collector's Value Guide. Here we go, chat. Look at this, like straight from the Scholastic Book Fair. Yeah, right here. Look at this. We're gonna go full screen here. I love this stuff. The Collector's Value Guide Pokemon. Look at that, chat. Let's see. So this thing was made back in. Let's take a guess, chat. I'll let you guys guess. This will be a fun, engaging activity for all to enjoy. So this thing was made back in 1999. So for example, let us go to, because it has like it's all price condition or like price guides stuff, right? Because there was no internet back then. So let us guess. So for example, how much do you guys think in this Elite Collector's Guide do you think a first edition Charizard cost back in the day? According to this guide. You know what, Waste? Perfect. We're guessing out of this Collector's Value Guide made in 1999, how much they said a Charizard first edition cost. Because it has first edition, unlimited, in Japanese. Palette says 20 Dolores. I'll let you know. 50. Well, Waste, you are correct in the unlimited. But even back then, first edition Charizard, 240. Wow. That's unique. The other thing that I thought was interesting, and I don't know if it's in this one, but it actually shows the price for the vending series, which I thought was really cool. Shout out to my favorite artwork of Haunter, by the way. If you guys have ever seen the vending series Haunter, that's what it looks like. I know it's kind of probably scuffed, but this I love old guides like this. Like old guides or like KB Toy ads where like they're promoting like hey, base set booster box like on sale for $50 or something. But yeah, all that stuff. I love that old material. Like it even has like all the I forgot what the manufacturer is, but like all the minifigurines for Pokemon. So you can see like Poliwhirl, Growlithe, like all like those like I think they're like the Tomy figures. I love all that stuff. Literally love all that stuff. But I don't know if I said it, Waste. But welcome back. My attention span is that of a goldfish at the moment. It is what it is. A be what it be. I have a few back there. One of these days, I'll show you guys the update of the cabinet. But I have a Slowbro, a Slowpoke, a Staryu, and a Charmeleon over there. Yeah, kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. And I know I showed chat, but Waste, I know you're into this stuff. I'm going right back to just chatting again, chat. But look what I've had floating around for like 2 years that I probably should to put the battery in. It's Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Red that I got to replace the battery on. So if you beat Pokemon Pinball, I'll hook you up with one. Just saying. Just shoot. I got you. I'll hook you up. Now that you're rocking the green Game Boy, once I finally get that battery replaced. I've literally had these forever. So like I think they're given to me, so it's not even that big of a deal. But let me know. Let me know if you want I've never played any of the Pokemon games. Waste. We've been friends for how long? And you're meaning to tell me that not once have you played a Pokemon game? Absolute craziness. Well, when you're done with your catalog of 1,972 games in your queue, we'll have to play a Soul Link. So, let me know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You have 1,987 games to play. That game wish list. That is a long one, to say the least. But I will say, you have motivated me to, like, once I'm like kind of gone through, like at this point, there's no way I'm getting through this game this year. I yap too much. But there's definitely a lot of games that I kind of want to go back to that I absolutely loved growing up. I think the top 5 that I really want to play is, shout out if you remember Time Splitter 2. Not 1, but Time Splitter. Love Time Splitter for the GameCube. Fear, my absolute favorite horror game of all time. Loved that game immensely. Well, I know the other one, but I'm not making anyone feel bad about it. Starts with an H and ends in Alo. Siphon Filter. Siphon Filter. I absolutely loved Siphon Filter for the PlayStation. And gosh, I don't know what other like one that really, like, I'm sure it'll come hit me. Aside from Pokemon. Obviously Pokemon's a very obvious answer. But yeah. I can't think of him. I thought I'd be able to come top 5. I'm sure the other one's going to hit me like a ton of bricks. Currently doing my first Skyrim run in like 10 years. That's sick, actually. That's actually cool because, like, I honestly kind of wish that I, like, forgot, like, all there was about Skyrim to be able to play it again. Because that was when I was in... Skyrim came out for me when I was in college. And, I remember when they came out with the update where you could use the Skyrim Connect. And there's a video of me out there that recorded myself like trialing it. And it was the goofiest thing I've ever done. Because like I'm screaming in my dorm room like Fus Roda through a Connect mic. And at one time I was kind of like, not like degenerate, but not like really aware of my surroundings, where I was like really trying to make the video and really trying to like scream into the Connect mic, to where the RD had to come to, or the RA rather had to come to my dorm and be like, dude, you gotta like not like scream at like 10 p.m. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but you can't like just yell in the dorm. It's like, brother, like if you knew that I was Fusro dying dragons, you wouldn't be in my fucking room right now. Like, if you knew the gravity of what you're asking me, you wouldn't be up in here asking me to calm down. I'm yelling at dragons, bruh. Like, what are you on about? But he was jealous. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, chat. A jealous man. Ooh. Big XP. Wasteland, liking my live. But you've also, Waste, you've also made me want to re-explore Armored Core again from a campaign perspective. For Answer will be forever my top favorite Armored Core game of all time. Absolutely. Oh, Waste, I don't know if I ever told you this. I think you get a kick out of this. So, my cousin is who, like, my older cousin, he's probably like 8 years older than me. He was the one that got me introduced to Armored Core. So I'd go to his house. He lived like 5 hours from me. And so I'd rarely see him. But when I did, he was like a super cool cousin, like kind of like odd, but we kind of jive. Like we played Yu-Gi-Oh together, we played Armored Core together, we played games together, we did all this stuff. But the thing that he would do is he would get super into like role playing during Armored Core, because he would like love building his own mechs, but like online wasn't a thing. But you could like do 1v1 still, like on the same console. So he would literally, before I'd come visit him, he would make like 10 mechs, 10 ACs, for those of you who really need me to be specific. So 10 ACs that ranked in difficulty. And he would play in a particular style almost as if he was an in-game boss. So then, like, I would, like, build a mech and go against, like, one of his 10. And he would say, oh, like, you're losing because there's, like, a thing you're not paying attention to, like, because he'd, like, maybe, like, boost only in diagonals or something. And, like, I had to understand that he was doing that, and that was the way to beat him or whatever. So he would literally, like, do that all the time. Like, set up all these ACs for when I would come over, and I would basically go against him. Which I thought was really funny. And there was a part, and strike me down if I'm lying. There was one AC that he would play, and I'm genuinely not joking. He would play with his feet, because he would say that that was like the chink of the armor of the AC, was that his controls were slightly off because he was genuinely playing with his feet. I am not kidding. Thank God I did not give him my controller, because he plopped the Mad Cats right on the ground, put his big toes on the analogs, and I don't know. I don't know if that's too much information or what, but I beat my cousin's AC because he decided to use his feet as like a difficulty setting for me to beat his first AC pilot. I wish I was kidding. I'm not joking. Oh yeah, like you guys thought that the second controller was only reserved for pizza grease and Doritos dust? No way. A third option is someone's grippers when they're playing Armored Core. So, just saying. So, but yeah, I missed the sadly I missed today's stream, Waste. Work was so stupid today. It was so dumb. But I picked up another mini collection. I picked up this cool Primal Groudon. That was like a bulk of the collection. Be so mad if I put well, you would if you're using a Mad Catz controller. Shout out the Mad Catz controllers, by the way. If you ever, well, here's what I'll say. If you ever had a second controller and you gave, actually no, I'm gonna actually twist this on you guys. I'm gonna make this your fault. Listen, bring it in. I'm gonna make this guy your fault. If you had a Mad Catz controller and your friend came over, if you gave them said Mad Catz controller, are you actually friends or do you become enemies? It's Mad Catz. It's not like officially licensed controller. It is a Mad Catz controller. If your friend comes over and you give them the Mad Catz controller, do you still consider them a friend, or is that the day that you consider them an enemy? Let me know in chat. I think I think depending on if the Mad Catz was straight from the, like, you bought it from GameStop that day because you knew your homie was coming over, and you cracked that thing open, like, that is the only acceptable answer for me as to where I would accept the Mad Catz controller. Because Mad Catz controllers have a shorter expiration date than a gallon of milk. Tell me I'm wrong, chat. Tell me I'm wrong. Mad Catz controllers, notoriously dog water. You cannot convince me otherwise. Because those things, either the analogs would be scuffed, the triggers would not work, or the stupid LEDs that they put into it that would like make it like enjoyable. Nope. All that would break it somehow. It would be awful. All the homies got the off-brand. That's like if you're like known in your friend group for just being like, oh, like he was like crazy on the sticks. It's like, yeah, dude, I was so good, not knowing that you gave them like scuffed controllers the entire time. It's the person behind the curtain. I see you, Palatown. I see the kind of man you really are. But it's alright. And I almost lost Poliwhirl. That would have been rough. Yeah, I remember... I wonder... I'm trying to think of other things gaming related. Oh, I know, I don't know if I've ever said this on stream where I could, my family computer was so bad because, we didn't have a lot of money at the time. And my mom got a secondhand computer from, like, the e-waste from her work. It was so bad that I could not, let's see. I could not play RuneScape because the moment I left the tutorial island, my computer would crash. How's that for scuffed? Random. I'm coming from PlayStation when eBay or and EB Games were the place. My friends would buy new Bad Cats controllers and memory cards. Where we still rented games from Blockbuster. Dude, I loved renting games, dude. That's honestly the first time, the first rated M game that I ever played was Parasite Eve, actually. Parasite Eve was the first M game I ever played with my dad. And then it was Siphon Filter. So Parasite Eve and Siphon Filter were the first two M-rated games that I played as a kid. Because my mom didn't allow it, but my dad did. And that's what you get. Shout out to the divorced kids in chat. Because you get, hey, it is what it is. I know. I remember clearing out. It was for us. It wasn't a Blockbuster. It was Movie Gallery. Was the video rental place near me, and I loved when they like. Selfishly, I loved when they went out of business because they had like all their games like super cheap, and you could just like buy out whatever. Dude, those I was just talking about that random. I don't know how long you've been in here because I have to kind of look at two different chats, but yeah, that was such a cool. Oh, because one of the games that I bought, if you guys remember Oni, it was one of Bungie's. Bungie actually made it. It was with like some anime girl. Kind of gave Siphon Filter-y vibes, but more of like an anime aesthetic. I really like that one too. But yeah, Parasite Eve. Oh, I love Parasite Eve. And Parasite Eve, Silent Hill. Yeah, my dad and I would play all the horror games. We loved them. Doom. I think to me still the scariest Doom game was Doom 3 because it was out on the Xbox. Sounds good. I feel that. Shout out Oracle for running a stellar product over on TikTok. But Waste, thanks for hanging out as always. Appreciate you as always, and I will. I'm sure I'll catch you later tonight on your side of stream. So I will catch you later. It is actually 9:30 for me. Actually, probably should get off because I gotta process some stuff. Because I got a show this Saturday, chat. I got a little bit of work. Normally, the week before a show, I tend to. Oh God, I almost ended stream with a pretty big loss, and that would have sucked. There we go. The music was too perfect for that almost absolute dumpster. But yeah, I think let me do this here real quick. Yes, random. I appreciate you being around, man. Pelican controller for the win. No, see, we were just talking about that, and I think you're probably lurking, and I bet you just connected your keyboard. But the Mad Cats and the like, what's a better brand, chat? Pelican or Mad Cats? I'd say Pelican. But it is a close battle, and it is one that is being waged in a dumpster. Both of which are, God. The Pelican with some of the brightest LEDs made by man. I remember that. I remember that controller. That thing was a beacon. It's cheap and easy to replace. That is true. Mad Cats and the Pelicans, man. All right, chat. Well, like I said, I have a card show this Saturday. So if you're in New York on Saturday, here's the selfish plug. Saturday, February 7th, Plattsburgh, New York. Check out my profile. I have all the info in there. Card show. And there's going to be some other ones, but that's going to be the one this Saturday. So I got to prepare for that. I got to get all my inventory processed. Most of it's pretty much done from the online show. So I'll probably be doing a recap video on what's to come on Saturday. So if you guys are close, definitely like to see you there. For those of you who have been here, either partially from the stream or the entire stream, appreciate you hanging out. It was fun. I love Yap sessions. Hopefully you guys do too. If you like Yap sessions, make sure to comment anywhere on this video that says Mad Cats or Dog Water, so I know that you watched. So, yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out. Subs, follows, likes, all that fun stuff. Whether you're watching me on TikTok and YouTube, I was streaming on both, but I can't say that in the middle of TikTok because they'll whatever. But yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will be back on Wednesday. Hopefully, grade review. We'll see if anyone submits cards. If not, we're going to continue our continuation of Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke. All right, chat. I don't know where else to say besides an awkward deuces, and then you wait for me to stare in the camera while I find my stop stream button.